Hello folks, it's Stagecoach again. Welcome to the model review video, and this time we've got a Northcord Model Company Alexander Dennis Enviro 400. And the one we've got is catalogue number UKBUS 6207A, released in October of 2025. 1,200 were produced, and it's a livery of Greater Manchester Passenger Transport Executive, or PTE. It's actually a Stagecoach Manchester bus carrying a heritage livery, as we'll discuss very shortly. Now, unless you've been living on a remote island with no road access for the last 20 years, you've probably seen one of these buses. They are quite ubiquitous. I've photographed the rail ones anywhere from Inverness to Penzance, and more or less everywhere in between. They are so well known that at my local railway station there is a poster advertising Plus Bus tickets, and it uses the stylised image of the front of one of these. And you know that your bus designers made it when they start using it to advertise other things. So, normal format for these reviews, we'll have a look at the history of the Rail Alexander Dennis Enviro 400. We'll talk about the history of the Northcord model casting. We'll have a look at the history of the rail vehicle modelled. And then we'll have the all-important look around, see what's good and what isn't. And then we'll talk about price if you want to buy one for yourself. So first of all, before we do all that, I'll take it out of the box. Ooh. Might need a ruler for this one. There we go, I've done it. So slide it out, normal cardboard outer. Come on. And the plastic inner tray there. You don't get a certificate anymore with Northcord Model Company's models. You just see there it says one of 1,200 pieces. It doesn't say which one it is anymore. So I've just taken the sticky plastic bits off there that stick the box together, and then it should unclip. There we go. So we take the lid off, we take this little retaining piece off as well, and it should just lift off the base. And there we go. And there it is in all its glory. So, the Rail Alexander Dennis Enviro 400 was introduced in 2005. It was the replacement for the Dennis Trident with Alexander ALX 400 body. But spoiler alert, the chassis was exactly the same. It was still a Dennis Trident chassis for the first couple of years or so. In 2008, the original engine, the 8.9 litre Cummins engine that they had, was replaced with a smaller 6.7 litre version because of increased Euro regulations, the emissions regulations. The 6.7 litre engine had lower emissions. It was apparently more efficient, and it was supposed to give the same performance as the 8.9 litre one. However, speaking to drivers who've driven these vehicles, it didn't quite. They weren't that bad, but they weren't quite as quick off the mark as the earlier ones with the bigger engines. In around 2010, the chassis was rebranded. It was changed. Instead of being the original Trident one, albeit with a smaller engine, it was modified, and it became known then as the E40D chassis rather than the Trident. At the same time, the radiator moved from the near side position that it's in on this bus to the off side. So that's the giveaway for an E40D. The bodyweight was changed over the years as well. The front lower panel here became like shaped. There was a bit of a curve shape put on it, apart from on buses that were new to Stagecoach, because Stagecoach refused to have the modified panels, and they stuck with these earlier design which were flat. If you go around the back over the years, the first ones had Enviro 400 embossed into this grille area, and then as you can see by this point, when this one was new, they'd done away with that and just put a couple of plain grills in. A little bit later on, the registration plate was moved, so instead of being behind glass up there behind the window, it was put into a little recess at the bottom here, but on the outside, and that was because regulations changed to say that you couldn't have the registration plate behind glass anymore. So this represents one of the 6.7 litre engined Dennis Trident chassis with a near side radiator. It's got the second type of vent there, not the Enviro 400 embossed in, but it's still got the registration plate behind the window there. They have done various different variations of it, as I'll discuss very shortly. In 2014, the MMC version of the Enviro 400 was introduced. I've done a review of the model of that. Northcord Model Company have modelled the MMC, and I've done a review. I will put a link in the description to this video, to that one, if you want to see it. So MMC stood for Major Model Change. It was quite heavily redesigned. but the original version remained available for a year or so after the MMC was introduced. It became known as the Enviro 400 Classic, and the last of them were delivered in 2016. The same bodywork was also built on different chassis. The Enviro 400H Hybrid had it on Northcord models, some of those. One Volvo B7TL received this bodywork, and quite a number of Volvo B9TLs as well. And there were also some built on Scania models. Although Northcord or Creative Master Northcord did represent some Scanias, the casting isn't quite right for the Scania because the Scania chassis had a much longer rear overhang rather than the shorter one that's featured on these buses. So the Northcord model was originally introduced by Creative Master Northcord in 2006, about a year after the rail bus had made its appearance. They did two different lengths, 10.1 metre and 10.8 metre, or scale representations of those lengths, and they also did single and double door versions, and another version was done with different rear panels so that the Volvo B9TL version could be represented. Creative Master Northcord ceased trading in 2012. About a year later, the Northcord Model Company bought the castings and the rights to the designs and things, and they reintroduced this model in 2013 for 4 different releases, after which it was mothballed for a while. In 2022 they got it back out again and did some more releases, including this one that we're looking at now. In all, there have been 32 Creative Master Northcord releases, that's covering all of the different lengths and door configurations, and they were released between September 2006 and June of 2011. Northcord Model Company released 4, as we said, in 2013. That was between June and October 2013. And up to press since 2022, they've done 11 releases, including this one, and they've announced 4 more, and that's between November 2023 and October 2025. So the vehicle that's been modelled is registered MX58VBL. It's Stagecoach fleet number 19470, and it's probably got the simplest history of any bus that I've ever done a review of, because it was delivered new to Stagecoach Manchester as 19470 in January of 2009. As I'm recording this video in October 2025, it is still with Stagecoach Manchester. In 2024, it was repainted into Greater Manchester PTE livery, the 1981 version of the livery, with brown skirt, orange up there and then white at the top. It was done for various reasons. It was they did quite a few heritage buses in 2024. It was the 200th anniversary of the first bus service in Greater Manchester. Obviously that had been a horse bus. It was the 50th anniversary of the Selneck PTE, South East Lancashire, North East Cheshire, being renamed Greater Manchester PTE in 1974. But it was also a bit of a farewell from Stagecoach to various areas. They'd bought Greater Manchester Buses South in 1996, and they've been operating in South Manchester since then. But with the B Network franchising, they lost quite a lot of the routes in South Manchester. There is still a Stagecoach Manchester. They kept the Stockport operation, and they also gained some other contracts for the B Network routes from Go North West. So they got Queen's Road Depot and Oldham and places like that. So there is still a Stagecoach Manchester operation. It's just not from the same depots as it traditionally was. So these were done partly, as I say, to say goodbye to some of the traditional operating areas, that they weren't going to be seeing Stagecoach Manchester buses anymore. When the B Network thing happened, a lot of Manchester vehicles were transferred elsewhere within Stagecoach, but this one stayed with Stagecoach Manchester, as I say. I think it's at Queen's Road now, but it's used as a driver trainer and staff shuttle bus because it's retained this livery. If it was used in normal service, it would need big ugly B Network stickers in yellow right across the names, and it would be expected that it would be repainted yellow very shortly. And because Stagecoach didn't want to do that, what they did was they kept it in this livery, but they use it for non-passenger carrying duties basically, so staff shuttles, driver training, as I said. But yeah, nice and simple. It's still with the operator it was delivered new to 16 years ago, so yeah, easy as that. Right, let's have a look around it. So a general look around it, it looks quite good. It looks exactly like it should do, really. It looks like one of these vehicles, an Enviro 400. But I need to address, if I can, the elephant in the room. Sorry, what's this? I know it's an owl, it's Barney, it was me mum's, but why is he on the video? Oh, we haven't got an elephant apparently, so okay, let's address the stuffed owl in the room. So in real life, these buses were built to various different heights. The vast majority of the ones delivered to Stagecoach were low heights at 13'9" tall, including 19470. However, the Northcord model is, I've just put a ruler over it. It measures at around 14'6", so it's actually slightly high for the, I think the tallest height was 14'1". So it's slightly high, but it is a hybrid vehicle. And I mention that because somebody will put it in the comments. I've seen reviews done of these models by other people, and somebody comments that it's always the wrong height. So yes, it is. It's slightly too tall. However, it doesn't really matter. Northcord have painted it in such a way that you can't tell. If they put the sort of correct depth of band on, you would end up with too much orange or, you know, too much white or whatever. But they've actually adjusted the proportions of the livery so it doesn't look incorrect, and you can't really tell that it is too tall. You also can't tell because, as far as I know, all the models that have ever been done have been the same height. There was a kit of one, a resin kit from one of the manufacturers, and I believe they were, I don't know what height they were, to be honest, but obviously unless you've actually got a model of a low height one, you wouldn't be able to tell this one's too tall, and you can't really tell in real life. Where I live in Grimsby, for a number of years, these were the only type of vehicles that Stagecoach ran, and they were all low heights. Occasionally Lincoln Depot would send one of their full height ones up on the route from Lincoln, and you couldn't tell. If you looked at it in the abstract, you think it looks a bit different, but I can't really tell why. And it was only when one of these pulled up alongside it, or you know, behind it or whatever, one of the locally based ones did, that you could tell they were different heights. If you just see it stood on its own, or if you've got a few of these models and they're all stood together, you can't tell that they're the wrong height, because of course they all are. So it doesn't stand out. Unless you've got an actual model of a low height one, you wouldn't be able to tell. So it doesn't have to be a deal breaker, but I just mentioned it because, as I say, if I don't, somebody will put it in the comments. So let's have a look around it. So we start as always with the front. You've got the well-known sloped back massive front window. That looks really good. You've got the tree deflectors there, which are huge. As you can see, they come out of the roof and they come all the way down there, and that's to stop obviously trees from smashing the window if it runs into them. The destination blind is behind the glazing, as it should be. It's not particularly clear, to be honest. They've not printed it in a very bright orange, but it's on Route 201 to Hattersley via Ardwick and Hyde. As you can just about see. I don't know if you can see it on the video. I'm struggling to see it with my naked eye, but you can just about see that the destination's done, so it looks like it's scrolling across the intermediate points. It's I think it says Hyde Road, actually, not Hyde. So just, yeah, so it says via Ardwick and Hyde R, as if the Hyde Road's about to scroll across. So it's a nice little detail and done as it should be. You've got the windscreen wipers there while I've got the light held over it, as you can see at the top of the screen, as they should be. The windscreen itself looks really, really good. And you've got the fleet number under there, 19470 HE. HE being Hyde Road, where it would have been based in when it was still in public service. The lights there, the headlights, there's an attempt to make them look like glass. They look pretty decent. And you've got the registration plate down there, MX58VBL. There is a little tiny bit of sort of fading on the paint. I mean, this is brand new, this model. It's literally just come off the ship. They've just arrived in the UK. I pre-ordered this one back in December of 2024. So I've got them as they've been released. So it's not wear and tear, it's just come out the factory like that. There's a little bit of where the brown's a bit faint, it's not quite sprayed on properly. You could probably touch that in if you wanted to, if it bothers you, but yeah, it's not too bad. Mirrors, you got the offside one there hanging across the cab window, and you've got this near side one there. They're not as rigid as they are on some models. There is a bit of flexibility to them, so if you catch them, they should bounce a little bit, but I wouldn't obviously hit them too hard because they will break off. Round to the near side, you've got the well-known Enviro 400 feature of this kind of elliptical shape on the door. I believe it was actually done with paint. I've seen them running with just normal doors with the rectangular glass. I believe you can scrape it off and just do, you know, make them look normal, but most operators continue to paint them like this. As you can see, the door's done in black to give some different, some relief, a bit of a different colour for visually impaired people so they can tell where the door is. The step looks good. You've got the representation of the wheelchair ramp printed onto it, so it looks like it sort of comes out of there. Side destination blind is printed on, but it's an attempt to make it look like it's behind glass by the way it's printed. I think that's done because some operators put them in the windows, so obviously they can do different variations there. The windows themselves look good. The glazing bars are printed on again so they can do different variations. You've got some relief to these vertical pillars, which are picked out in livery colour as they should be, and it all looks pretty decent. And the transfers are nicely done as well. Stagecoach Manchester legal lettering, unladen weight. Little grille there is part of the casting. It's not very heavily cast in, but it is cast in. These ones are printed on again so they can do different variations. As I said, at some point when they made it the E40D, they moved the radiator across to the other side, so you can just, that means Northcord can model those buses as well by just omitting that one and printing it round there instead. And you've got the CCTV camera printed on as well. Again, because not all of the buses being modelled would have had them. So go around to the back, you've got the little repeater lights up there. The emergency exit looks really good with the catches moulded into it, so the hinges, should I say, and the little catches at the bottom where the operating mechanism would go in, the handle there as well, and the instructions of how to operate it. The registration plate is behind the glazing, but it kind of looks like it isn't somehow. I don't know how they managed to do that, but the blind is behind the glazing. That looks pretty good. Fleet number again, and as I said, you've got the later style grills without the Enviro 400 lettering, which is correct for this bus. And the backlights look really good as well. There will be LEDs that change colour on the rail thing, and they've somehow managed to model those as if they look like LEDs. I don't know if you can see it on the video. I'll try and hold the bus to the camera and the light to it. But it's not really coming up on the screen, but there's like loads of little dots across them, so it does look like LED ones. The engine flap opens to reveal a representation of the 6.7 litre engine. As you can see there, very nice. And then we go around to the offside. You've got the filler cap there that's cast in. That looks really good. And then you've got the coolant level indicator printed on. There's an indicator like that. I can't remember what that indicates. It's one of the levels anyway, but another flap printed on there. Emergency exit is printed. That looks a bit strange, but not too bad from normal viewing distances. And again, filler cap there printed on. You've got the fuel filler up there, another filler there, indicator cast in on the side, CCTV camera again, some posters in the windows which look pretty decent, and yeah, it all looks very nice indeed. The wheels look decent as well, a little bit plasticky because obviously they are plastic, but you could sort of paint over them or put a bit of either satin or matte varnish on just to tone them down a little bit. It would have had shiny wheels when it was first done, but not quite to that extent when it was in service. If we look at the roof, this is one of the features of this model that I really like. There's not much to report on it because there's not much on an Enviro 400 roof. It's basically just a flat panel. But as you'll notice, it's painted in the old beach ball colours. And that's because on the rail bus, it was. A lot of operators nowadays don't paint the roofs with double deckers if they can help it. And Stagecoach Manchester were one of those operators, or still are, should I say. I went past Hyde Road Garage on the train up on the viaduct many times, and the roofs of the buses were in a wide variety of liveries which bore no resemblance quite often to the one on the actual sides of the bus. So when this bus was repainted into the Greater Manchester PTE heritage livery, they didn't bother with the roof stayed in the previous beach ball colours, and that is modelled, and that is a really nice feature because a lot of people modelling it would just have done the roof in white. But yeah, looks really nice. Chassis, basic detail, you've got the framework there, bits of pipe work and cables and things, underside of the engine and all that kind of thing. Not much to report. And the interior, as you would expect on a Northcord model, a little short of exquisite. You've got the floor in red, the side panelling in blue, the handrails are done in orange as it should be, the seats are blue, again as it should be. There's the individual seat backs modelled. I'll try and get some more light on it so you can actually see them. But it all looks very nice indeed, and again, as you would expect from a Northcord model. All in all, it is a very lovely model. It's a bit of an unusual one, this catalogue number 6207A, because normally A and B variations of the casting would have different destinations or something like that. But on this one, 6207B is actually going to be in a different livery completely. It's going to be the GMS buses heritage one. So with the black skirt and window surrounds and, you know, the GMS fleet name is Greater Manchester South from around sort of 1994 to 96. I have got that one on pre-order. I'll do it as a mini review because obviously it's the same casting as this one, so there's no point in doing a full review video on it, but I'll do a mini review of it so you can see what it looks like. But yeah, it's very, very unusual that they've done like 6207A and 6207B, but they're both in completely different liveries. So a very strange one indeed. I must admit I wasn't overly struck on this bus when I saw pictures of it when it was first done. I saw some pictures in a magazine or on the internet and I thought, oh yeah. So when Northcord announced they were going to do it, I didn't think about pre-ordering it. I pre-ordered the GMS buses one because I really like GMS buses livery. And then I walked out of Oxford Road Station in Manchester and the rail bus drove past me and it looks absolutely stunning. So I walked along the route it was going to take on its way back out of the city and got a couple of photos of it and it looked amazing, so I went straight on my phone and pre-ordered this one. As you will know, if anybody's pre-ordered a model recently, they take ages to be released. I pre-ordered this one in December 2024, as I said, and it's now come out in October 2025. So, you know, it's taken the best part of 10-11 months to actually be released. But it's here now, and, you know, I've got it, and it looks very, very nice indeed. So how much will it cost? Well, yeah, this is a story, isn't it? As I said in the MMC review, again I'll put a link in the description to that review of the Enviro 400 MMC model, but the prices get affected by all kinds of things and we'll go through some of it. So this one cost me £53.50 on pre-order from TTC Diecast, and then when it came £4.95 postage and packing, so £58.45 all in. To buy them at TTC, again I'm doing this in October 2025, they're on the website to buy now at £56.50. Again, you'd put £4.95 postage onto that, so £61.45 it would cost you from TTC Diecast. Now, strap in. I've had a look on eBay for the purposes of the video. The only one I could find of the UK releases was £63.08 plus £3.38 postage and packing, so £66.46 all in. And there was somebody selling one for £95.49 including postage and packing, but what that one is a Hong Kong one. We had this with the MMC and I mentioned it in the review of that one. Basically the models come out in Hong Kong about 4 weeks before they come out in the UK. And the reason for that is it takes 4 weeks for the boat to sail round from Hong Kong to whichever UK port it lands in. But what people have started to do is to get a Hong Kong one, either because they're over there, they've bought one there and brought it back, or presumably they've mail ordered it and had it sent via airmail. So they get one from Hong Kong and then it arrives and they bung it on eBay or similar for a stupid price, like, for example, £95.49. People look at it and go, oh, I like that, I'll see if I can find another one. Of course, they can't because it's not out in the UK yet, so they finish up paying £95.49 for it. Don't do that. If you wait a few weeks, like I say, TTC Diecast, £61.45 all in, or even the sort of UK release, the first one listed on eBay. There will be more coming on very shortly, I'm sure, but £66.46. So you pay £30 less if you just wait a few weeks for an actual UK release one to come out. I've also look at Liz Keith, the model shop in Eastbourne that I look on the website of, and they're selling for £72. I think their postage is about £4, so that'd be £76. What I would probably advise you to do is to buy one sooner rather than later if you want one, because what will happen to them, like all Northcords at the minute, is that the prices will go up. People will buy them at the initial rates that I've just said, somewhere between, you know, 58 and 76 quid, and then they will put them on auction sites, etc., for 100, 120, any kind of ridiculous amount of money to make a vast profit. So the prices almost inevitably will go up for them. So if you do want one, I'd get one from one of the actual dealers sooner rather than later, basically, before the prices start going through the roof. As I said before, it does annoy me because it does preclude people who actually want one of the models from getting one, because people are profiteering and they're making vast amounts of money. And I understand why. I mean, people sell things to make money, don't they? But it stops people who actually want one of these models from getting one, and it does annoy me a little bit. But it's enough of my ranting anyway. It is a very, very nice model. As I say, I will do a mini review of the GMS one when it arrives. It should be with me in about a couple of weeks, apparently. It's been, I believe it's been released in Hong Kong as I'm doing this one. So, yeah, it should be out before long. But anyway, thank you as always for watching. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.